Joining us today in InfoLive TV in Jerusalem is with us Mr. Gustavo Perednik. He's philosopher, author, and professor and lecturer of many universities around the world. Shalom, Mr. Perednik.
Shalom, nice to meet you here.
Great. We want to talk with you about different topics, regional topics, and also you are presenting very soon a new book. You wrote many books. A book about the bombings in Argentina against the Argentinian Jewish community, AMIA, and the Israeli embassy in Buenos Aires. This is right?
Yeah, the book is about how there was a concealment of what happened due to a governmental attitude during 10 years, a cover-up of who was responsible for the attack, especially the Jewish community attack in 1994. The Iranian hands were behind it. It was proven by the Argentinian justice and was accepted by the international Interpol. But during 10 years, there was such a cover-up that the investigation had to be started from zero, and it was done by prosecutor Alberto Nisman, very efficiently so. And after 3 years of very deep and intensive investigation, he came to reveal who were responsible for the attack.
Okay, now first let's start with this topic. Imad Mugniyah, the military commander of Hizbullah, died in a bombing attack last week in Damascus. You are very close to the prosecutor, the Argentinian prosecutor, Alberto Nisman, and he said recently that he's not sorry because of the death of Mugniyah, who is one of the main suspects of the bombing in AMIA, but he would have preferred to see him in court. What can you say about that?
Well, that's the maximum a prosecutor can say. Obviously, by saying that he's not sad about it, he means very well. It was impossible to get him to court, especially because the Syrian government was protecting him. So nowadays, Syria is a member of the Interpol. The Interpol is compelling every single country in the world to give up these terrorists whenever they see them. And here you have a country which is a member of Interpol, and instead of giving the terrorists to the authorities, they were just protecting him. What Nisman said was that he would have liked to investigate, research, he would have liked to interrogate Mugniyah in court in order to get more information. But what was done was progress towards the whole event, because the other suspects of being the terrorists of the AMIA bombing are still at large. At least one is not anymore.
Okay. After the killing of Imad Mugniyah, Hizbullah threatened Israel and the Jewish communities all around the world that will take revenge. What can you say about this situation where, in which the Jewish communities around can be affected by what is going on in the Middle East?
I wouldn't say it's what happens in the Middle East. You have a terror organization which says in its own platform that every Jew should be killed anywhere where they are, and therefore if they're not killing Jews before, it's because they cannot, not because they don't want. Nasrallah said many times he wants to attack the Jews everywhere. Now they look for excuses in each occasion, but that doesn't mean any change. The basic root of evil is there in the Hizbullah and all these Islamists, militants who are threatening the Jewish people everywhere. We have to be sure that they cannot attack us, but that they want to attack us is something that happens when there are actions of Israel. When there are no actions of Israel, they find their excuses very easily.
Mm-hmm. What can you say about the investigation or the situation of the cases of the bombings to the AMIA, the Argentinian Jewish community, and the Israeli embassy? What can you say about the case? What can you say about the situation at present? What can you say about the role of the different Argentinian governments, and about now the situation of the presentation before Interpol of the request for 5 persons, now 4, the Iranian officials?
The investigation of the attack on the Israeli embassy in 1992 is stuck, and it won't move. It's in the hands of the Argentinian Supreme Court, and they basically don't do anything about it, and they won't. There are many reasons for this. I could elaborate if you want, but probably we should focus on the AMIA terror attack, where not only there was progress, but we came to the truth. Of course, the investigation continues because now it's focused on the triple frontier, which is the boundaries where Argentina, Paraguay, and Brazil meet, and through where the terrorist, the suicide bomber, came into the country. But basically, the main responsible for the attack in the AMIA Jewish Community Center in 1994, we know who they are, and they are being protected by the Iranians. So the progress was fantastic, and we should be very happy, especially because Interpol adopted what the Argentinian government, what the Argentinian justice demanded. What was the second?
Yeah, what is the role?
Oh, the role of the
governments?
different governments. Well, during 10 years, during Menem's government, Carlos Menem's government, there was a cover-up. These included members of the Jewish community, politicians, judges, policemen, people who were involved in a very, very sophisticated and big covering up of the whole thing in order to not to confront Iran. After Menem left, there was a negligent handling of the situation by the following government, but then Nestor Kirchner, the current president, or his wife is the current president of Argentina, they adopted a position in which they asked from the prosecutor of Argentina to investigate till the very end with no limitations. And that's what they did. They created a special unity for investigating the case, and the results were quite quick if you compare them in contrast with the 10 previous years in which nothing was done. The judge who mishandled the previous investigation is on the verge of going to jail, Mr. Galeano, and so is the case of several prominent Argentinian politicians which were involved in it. So we can very clearly say that there was progress, and Argentinian justice, which was not very much reliable during the last decade, nowadays again is in the avant-garde of the fight against terrorism.
Can we hope, can we dream that the 4 Iranians that are requested by the Argentinian justice will ever be brought to justice?
As soon as they leave Iran, the Interpol has an order, what we call red notice alarm, in order to catch them. Now, if they go from Iran to Syria, the most probable thing is that Syria will protect them, as they did with Mugniyah as well. But as soon as they leave Iran to any other country, they are in danger of being captured. That includes Rafsanjani, which was the Iranian president, nothing less. And therefore, there is a hope that this will happen. In any case, there are many, you never know what happens in history. There is a possibility that the Iranian regime will change at some point. In that case, they are again in danger of being given to Argentinian judges. But the symbolic effect of the fact that Interpol is requesting them, I think it's much more important than the possibility of them being caught in the next future.
Mm-hmm. Now you're writing a book. I don't know if very soon we will have the book in the bookstores about the bombing to the AMIA. What can you tell us about your book, and are you including any new, let's say, data or information that we didn't know until now about the case?
The book is coming out very soon. I finished its writing. It's being published by Planeta, which is the main publisher in Argentina. It is called To Murder Without a Trace, Matar Sin que se note in the original Spanish. It's going to be published in Spanish so far. And it puts together all the information and also includes some dialogues and some stages of investigation of the prosecutor which are not known. That would be the main novelty of the book. I would say that it's a novelization of the indictment. This indictment against all the Iranians has to be told in a way that people will understand exactly what happened in Argentina. And basically it's also, it points out very deeply into the covering up. The covering up of the 10 years that harmed so much the case and harmed so much Argentinians' name is very clearly presented in my book.
Okay. Gustavo Perednik, thank you very much for joining us today in InfoLive TV.
Thank you.